Charles, Biden is daft. And California burns as a result. How are you? You're looking quite well.
Oh, thank you so much, Jason. I'll tell you what, just as a proof of existence, I'm going to pick the camera up and I'm going to pan to the actual view from my
Wow.
hut.
It's great.
And,
Nice hut.
yeah, it's a nice hut down here. But I just wanted people to understand that I'm not back in my apartment. And by the way, that apartment was not rent stabilized, it was rent controlled.
Sorry, even more, uh,
Yeah.
sacred among the New
Yeah.
York people don't understand. That's funny that that had come up. That people are like, what is Charles always doing in that closet?
Yeah. No, the apartment, it was actually two apartments joined, but it was certainly run down. But it was such a bargain
That's the way
because,
those apartments always are. They're old, but it's
right.
like $300 a month for a 4-bedroom apartment.
Well, it was more than that, but still, my parents moved in there in 1959.
Right.
So, anyway, out here, I am east of Lombok, which is in turn is east of Bali. And it's pretty far away. I'm in a place, I think the name of this place is, what is it? It's Kirani, Karani, I think. And it's on the island of Sumbawa, which is spelled Sum and then Bawa. And it's really, the views are spectacular. The island has 4 million people on it. So it's not, I'm not in a Robinson Crusoe situation. Unfortunately, up the mountaintop from here is a gigantic gold mine that has about 10,000 workers and is slated to go up to 40,000. 2 days ago, I went and looked at buying something. Is a hilarious name. It's called the Super Suck Beach Resort, and Super Suck is one of the outstanding surfing locations in the world. Some articles refer to it as legendary, and it's for experts only. The reason being that before you get to where you surf, there is a coral reef that has sea urchins on it, and if you lose control of your board, apparently you end up on that coral reef, beaten up pretty badly. So, I mean, surfing is not something I'm going to do as my birthday present to myself. But the resort in question had about 800 beachfront feet and 14, almost 15 acres. And it's more than I want to spend out here, but it certainly is an interesting place to look at, and I'm glad I did so.
Charles, I think you'd have an excellent business running something called the Super Suck Hotel. How could you miss with that?
Well, I think that's what Joe Biden has run for the last 4 years.
Oh my God. Yeah, he super sucks. That's for sure. He super sucks. It's not a joke though. People were saying that because of mismanagement of the reservoirs and stuff, fire hydrants didn't have water in them in California. And Joe Biden had some kind of stupid press conference with Gavin Newsom where he said, give me a break. So what do you even mean? Give you a break. There's no water in the fire hydrants.
This really is somewhat poignant for me because when I was born in the UCLA medical complex. I was the second private patient, my mother being the first. And we lived on Sunset Boulevard in a building that most likely has been burned down. And I look at the mess. I remember in 1986, I spent a lot of time in California when I was selling Western Airlines. I think I was there in the space of 7 months. I was there 30 times, and living at the Beverly Hills Hotel or the Bel Air Hotel or lesser places as well. And I actually do also have a birth certificate, a real one, FYI. But
Only PDF,
the thing of it
though.
is, yeah, it's an actual authenticated, whatever you call it, certified, raised emblem, etc. version. So back in Penang, I have it. But when you think of Los Angeles and you think of the stories that are coming out here that that people are being paid $750,000 a year and are so fucking incompetent that they have a record above. There's a great article on Zero Hedge, I think I sent around. The rainfall in the recent period has been something like 140% of average. So you can't blame the lack of water on nature, right? To protect some fucking fish, a smelt, these idiots in California have been taking the rain melt and putting it into the Pacific Ocean. And one of the reservoirs, I think, was supposed to be fixed. It's on maintenance. It's been empty since February 2024. And these DEI lesbians in the fire department and this person who runs Los Angeles, the mayor, is an avowed Marxist crazy, have basically they've been taking their paychecks and who knows what else they pay themselves by way of expenses that shouldn't be reimbursed and other theft. And they have been milking the city and the state for decades. And Jen Psaki, that idiot, who is the press spokesperson for Obama, another idiot, and for Kerry, yet another idiot, she has the gall to blame this on Trump and climate change. I mean, there hasn't been a Republican mayor in Los Angeles in I don't know how many decades, or governor since probably Ronald Reagan. Right? The Democrats control that state. They've controlled that state for decades. Joe Biden is pretending to be the president. Pete idiot, what's his name? Buttigieg. He's the Secretary of Transportation. He's got this Inflation Reduction Act that, in this infrastructure bill or whatever that was supposed to be improving the nation's infrastructure. If anybody's to blame for this, it's the collective bunch of morons who are apparently overpaid and not qualified for their various positions. And I'd start, fish rots from the head. I'd start with Biden. Everything that man touches turns to ashes, literally. He has burned down the Democratic Party franchise. The footage just from this disaster and the twin reporting coming out of North Carolina, where apparently it's unbearably cold in that area where the FEMA botched the recovery and aid provision down in North Carolina during the hurricane. Now these people who are living in tents, many of them, are having their assistance cut as the Biden administration has no money left because they've been funding all these illegal immigrants that they've been pouring into the country. And Jen Psaki is trying to blame this on climate change. Climate change has nothing to do with this. This is gross malfeasance, incompetence. It started with the border. How many criminals are in Los Angeles now setting fires and looting? How many of those people came in because Joe Biden reversed Trump's policies? I mean, the Democratic Party is finished. And it's particularly finished because the reflexive celebrities who thought it was cool to back dumpster fire, Obama, and other Democrats, the Clintons, et cetera, now they're locked out of their homes. They're living in, quality inns if they're lucky. And there's no way you're going to build back better Los Angeles. They're already talking about, instead of having homes, mansions rebuilt, putting in, mixed-use apartment complexes, which is one of their pet projects to, quote, restore equality or reduce inequality. This is a masterclass in being a dumbass, a dangerous dumbass. Anybody who is currently holding a position of power in state government in California or city government in Los Angeles and those various other cities that are being burned to the ground, all those people need to be investigated. If they've been stealing money, they need to be put in prison. And the future of the Democratic Party is over. I mean, I'm no expert in media, but I could put together devastating commercials. So if you want a Democrat to be in charge of wherever you are, here are some case studies of what happens with one-party Democrat rule. We can talk about Chicago. We can talk about Washington, D.C. We can talk about Baltimore. We can talk about Los Angeles and San Francisco and California and Washington. Go down the list. This is your future if you vote Democrat in 2026. Do you want your home burned down, your daughters raped, your cars stolen, your depression? So by all means, vote Democrat. That's Biden's legacy.
Don't forget Eric Adams, Charles. He's destroyed this city.
No. And this is also, when you have when you can trace your family back as far as I can, you have a lot of ancestors. And two of mine got to California in 1849. Note to the viewers, there were no slaves in California. Okay. So California has zero history of slavery. Two of these ancestors got there, I want to say around September, October 1849. One of whom, Eli Cook, had been the mayor of Springfield, Illinois, and was a prominent Democrat. In fact, more prominent, more senior in age and in stature than Abraham Lincoln was at that time, who lived across the street from my ancestor. So this guy gets to California, and he was involved because of his prominence in the National Democratic Party. In California, he was involved helping to found the Democratic Party in California. That ancestor is spinning in his grave right now over what is going on in California and to the Democrat Party. It is now the party of toxicity and intolerance and stupidity and incompetence. And, the people standing up now to try to lead the party into the future, name somebody who isn't a complete dumbass. Maxine Waters, who's 175 years old, the one who said that you should, when Trump won in 2016, that you should hound his supporters in restaurants, get in their faces, harass them. That moron has gone out and immediately said this is due, I think she said it, I may have this wrong, that it's due to climate change, and the rich need to pay their fair share to rebuild Los Angeles. In contrast to North Carolina, where no money was forthcoming because that was the rural areas were pro-Trump, and FEMA was politicized to the point where they were not providing aid, according to reports, to these devastated rural communities. Biden immediately says, "Oh, Los Angeles, federal government's got to rebuild Los Angeles." Bullshit. Bullshit. I don't want to pay one penny to rebuild Los Angeles, and I was born there. I mean, this is a corrupt enterprise.
Yeah. And the thing is, Charles, people are talking about the whole insurance and everything. I mean, insurance is not just a fountain of money. It's essentially a mathematical formula based on not everybody's house burning down at the same time. And if you mismanage the city such that that sort of thing does happen, the whole business model of insurance doesn't work. You can't just give out money to everybody. They're betting that most people's houses will not burn down.
Well, and how exactly did Doug Emhoff have a house in Brentwood? How did he make enough money as a lawyer to do that?
Well, he's a lawyer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but no, those homes are extremely expensive. How did he make? Maybe he has family money, but I want to understand the business model for the Emhoff family.
Right.
How does his ugly ass daughter immediately get a modeling contract with creative artists?
All those stupid tattoos all over.
It's like putting Lizzo in a swimsuit contest. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But they do that. I've seen Lizzo in a swimsuit, like on a film shoot, thinking should be in a swimsuit on a film shoot. I mean, this one too. It is crazy. Everybody's a model now that we have Instagram, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, her OnlyFans. If she had an OnlyFans account, the number of suicides that would occur across the country would spike dramatically.
But why does she have a cow tattooed on her arm? That's a strange.
In honor of her stepmother. But it's just I'm almost as far away as you can get from New York City right now on the planet. Mars is for you, Jason, not for me. I'm a one planet dude.
Yeah, I'm not interested in going to Mars.
But looking at this stuff, I mean, how can you take yourself seriously? How can you go on TV as Jen Psaki and blame this on climate change and Trump? Right? She should be checked right in to a mental institution. She is certifiably crazy.
She's really playing up the red, huh?
And stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And then, how do you like Elizabeth Warren blaming this on climate change and then fundraising off of it using Act Blue?
Oh, yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, the propensity of these jackals to prey on the vulnerable, right? The policies of Biden, the inflation-promoting policies of Biden were a cruel tax on the most vulnerable American citizens, people in the lower and lower middle class. Economically, you have the kind of raging inflation that we do have that's not properly captured in the numbers. And now there's a story that people, despite the crazy crime levels and the unsafe conditions, the Sheridan Square station is on the number one line, is among the most toxic in terms of air quality stations, perhaps in the world, but certainly in New York City. I mean, it's extremely dangerous air, not to mention the hobos who are living down there, throwing up and crapping all over the sidewalk and pushing people in front of trains.
Is that bad?
People are so desperate now that they're riding this shithole because they don't have the money. The congestion tax,
exactly.
So they're forced back into the unsafe shithole. That's what you get when you vote Democrat. You literally need high pressure water hoses down in there. You need to shut the subway for a period of time and just clean it the fuck out. And then you need to stay in front of the turnstiles. You need to have marksmen. If you're going to try to jump the turnstile, fine, pull. Go skeet shooting down the subway. I mean, it's
Bernard Getz
crazy.
Down there. Show us. We could just station Bernard Getz down there and have like a shooting gallery.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy, and it's beyond. This is not incompetence. These are in the case of the guy in Chicago is a Marxist. The person in Los Angeles is a Marxist. They are on purpose destroying these cities. They want to turn American citizens into American subjects who will be ruled by tyrants. That's what they want. And in related news, I don't know how closely you follow the election in Romania, but they held an election in Romania.
Hanging on every minute.
Yeah, I know you speak Romanian, but or you like gymnasts. I forget which. But the election was held, and a conservative won, and so the globalists said, "Fuck that! We're canceling the election. Let's do another one."
What?
And now the most popular party in Germany is AfD, which of course they try to characterize as a far right party. It is not a far right party. And the same idiot who threatened Musk has just given remarks where he says that if the AfD wins the looming election in Germany, they're going to cancel the result. Just do it over again. They will not let the AfD. If the voters vote for the AfD, the EU globalists are saying, bullshit, we're not going to let that happen. That is not the conditions in Europe, I would argue, are more repressive now to freedom than existed behind the Iron Curtain.
I agree.
They're more repressive. And it is shameful that the World Economic Forum and George Soros and these people are all in for mayhem and anarchy because they can profit off it, and they use their crooked foundations to enrich themselves further. It is shameful that American foreign policy supports and defends Europe at this point. Germany is not, under its current leadership, is not a country that is a natural ally anymore of the United States of America. It just simply is not. Nor is the World Economic Forum a legitimate foundation, nor is open society. What's going on in England is disgusting. What's going on in France is worse. And now this election in Romania. The whole European project is something that should not be supported by the United States. And indeed, we should reverse policy. We should tell these people, listen, you decide what you want to do in Germany. We'll decide whether we subsidize and defend you. If you stay on this path for more than one day, we are going to take our bases out of Germany. We're going to bring our military people back. We are going to exit NATO. You can defend.
You should do all this anyway. You should do all of this.
Right, and that's that's a lesson that I think a tough lesson that needs to be administered. I mean, World War II was over. How many years ago? 80 years ago. 80 freaking years ago. And we still have bases scattered across Europe. Why? It's ridiculous.
So do you
You
think
know,
Greenland is going to join with Trump? I mean, people are like, oh, he's going to take over Greenland. I mean, it sounded like he was sort of offering them some kind of business arrangement and be like,
yeah,
Denmark, what are you
again,
going to do about it?
yeah, the Democrat Party and the rhinos and the Republican Party, they're control freaks. They want control over as many people as they could possibly get. The natural, what happened here?
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw this, but Candace, you were talking about Europe and France being a disaster. Candace Owens has been doing this whole expose on Emmanuel Macron's wife, and now Macron has been sending her all kinds of legal threats and everything. But the thing is, it's like she's not subject to French law while she's publishing this stuff in the United States, and he's telling her to do all kinds of things that he has just no legal basis to tell her to do.
Well, the problem is if they can, I don't know if you can extradite her into France.
Why no? What does she have to do with France? She lives in America. They can't start doing that. She can say whatever she wants.
Right. I think you're right. But I would just caution that, having made 2 investments in and out of France, it is very dangerous to operate in France. There are all kinds of, their legal system is different, quite different. And we have a friend, we won't mention his name, whose father was the justice minister of France at one point, and a very powerful man. And the justice system was turned on its head to go after this very powerful, prominent person. In the end, the government lost, and the matter is still ongoing. But when the French government gets involved and goes after you, you've got to be careful.
Well, I mean, it's fair advice, but I'm standing with Candace on this. I don't always agree with her, but I think maybe it wouldn't be wise for her to go to France. But as long as she's in America, I'm not into Emmanuel Macron. He can't tell her a damn thing. Sue her in America if he wants, but it's under American law, and he's going to lose.
Yeah. Well, and he's another petty tyrant.
Yeah, exactly. Right? He's getting upset because this is probably true. It's like, oh, sacre bleu. Getting all pissed off. Pepe Le Pew.
He probably hasn't even noticed. But anyway, no, looking at where we are, I guess in my time, we're a week away from January 20th out here. I guess you're 8 days away back in New York. So we're close. Biden gave some incoherent remarks. There's a surprise, but he basically admitted or stated that he didn't see any reason to pardon himself because, quote, he'd done nothing wrong. That's a very interesting comment to make when you just pardon your son. So you're admitting he did things wrong and you knew about him, and that's why you pardon him. But he claimed he saw no need to pardon himself or other members of his family, which means exactly that he's going to do the opposite of what he said, is my guess. But right around, probably at 11:59 a.m. on the inauguration day, he'll get all these pardons done. That'll be eventually disclosed. But this man and this team, I mean, Jill Biden was swanning around the world on Air Force One, virtually pretending that she was president. This is a disgraceful family. It is a disgraceful way to treat a person in his final years or months or even days, to have Joe Biden pretending that he's mentally competent. I mean, the only person who would believe that Joe Biden is mentally competent is by definition somebody who's insane. I mean, he is not mentally competent. None of these decisions make any sense. The second the special counsel said that he wasn't going to prosecute Biden because he would be sympathetic as a doddering old fool in front of the jury, the second he said that, it was incumbent upon, and perhaps before then, the cabinet to remove Joe Biden under the 25th Amendment. That should have happened long ago. Yeah. And shame on the mainstream press that has had a lot of interaction. We make no effort to use traditional channels to get access to government figures, but the mainstream press is embedded with this White House. They have multiple people who have daily contact with Joe Biden one way or another, and they had to have perceived that Joe Biden had slipped more than just a disc. I mean, this man has, if you need 16 gears in his brain. He's got none.
He's grinding them all down. Now, Charles, I hate to stop you while you're on such a tear, but it is time for us to venture into the First Amendment forum where you can really let it rip. I hope that people will join us there by watching on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or subscribestar.com, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. You had something you wanted to discuss with me about the ecology, and we were also talking about AI and NVIDIA. So stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.